Assalamu alaikum, my beautiful brothers and sisters. I'm super excited, like my heart is filled with joy. Today makes it 1 year since I became a Muslim. My life transformation and everything. I'm so excited and I'm so grateful to Allah most especially. So I'll just have a few questions I just want to answer to share my beautiful journey and experience becoming a Muslim. What initially sparked my interest in Islam? I had friends all along from secondary school. My best friend was a Muslim. My mentor in my whole work, everything I know about real estate, is also a Muslim. But I think it didn't really occur to me to even consider becoming a Muslim until when I started interacting more with them, and I had this lady working in my office. She was working under me, and she would just come to me and say, "It's time for prayer." And I couldn't help but be amazed because it's not like anybody was watching her. She just did it. No father, no mother, nobody telling her. And she was so devoted to it. So I became more curious. I had a friend too that was also mentioning about Islam there and there and there, but I didn't really consider it, not born a Muslim. But when I saw her, the way she would pray, she took it very serious. I become curious. So I think that's my initial spark. Yeah. Was there a moment or realization that made you decided to come back? Yes, there is. In fact, that moment is a lot. I was watching the movie Umar, the series, and I learned a lot about Islam. I learned a lot about Prophet Muhammad, peace be unto him. But it got to a scene that actually caught my attention. There was a scene where Umar decided to lead the prayer when the Prophet was sick, and the Prophet was not happy about it. And he asked Abu Bakr to lead the prayer the next time. And so, after the death of the Prophet, Umar heard about the death of the Prophet and he was sad, which is a normal reaction that is expected from everybody. And I watched, I was curious. I really wanted to see how it would play out. And Umar was like, nobody should say the Prophet is dead, the Prophet is not dead, this. And behold, the person that the Prophet chose to lead prayer, Abu Bakr, he came out and he said, let it be known that the Prophet is dead and we should worship only God. At that point, it was like my whole world was crumbling all over me. I felt goosebumps all over my body. And it was like endless tears was pouring out of my eyes. It broke my heart so much that I just realized that we've been making a lot of mistakes. God is one, Allah is one. We shouldn't worship or add anybody to him. Because it's typical of human nature to worship anybody or anything that shows any sign of miracle. And like Umar, he was leading towards that side. And that is why even when the Prophet was alive, he did not choose Umar to lead the prayer, because it's like he knows that Umar's faith is not there yet. He wanted Abubakar, his closest friend. And the typical nature of human being would have been to start worshipping the prophet as God. Just like when I was a Christian, Isa Jesus, because he performed miracles and all, we forget the message that God sent him to us. And at that moment, I realized that there's no going back. And I couldn't stop crying because I knew how my world would go upside down, how everything will not be the same, how I will be criticized, how I will be condemned. I couldn't handle the emotions together, you know. That was the moment that I knew that I have taken a path in my life that there's no going back. That was the moment I decided to become a Muslim. How do I feel after I took my Shahada? Oh my goodness. Um, when I went to take it, I've never watched anybody taking Shahada before, so I didn't even know what to expect. I think some people were privileged to have watched videos of Muslims that took their Shahada, but I do not, so I didn't even know what to expect. So I just watched everybody, and I was like, what are they going to tell me to do? What am I going to do? So many thoughts in my head, but I just knew the decision has already been made. If I have to say this to make me to be a Muslim, then why not? And the moment and when they told me what to take, I was shocked. Is that all? I was expecting more, and it was like, just declare that God is one and Muhammad is the messenger of God and all. I was like, oh, is that it? Okay. But when you take it, you understand the gravity of what you've said, and it was a beautiful experience. And after taking it, I felt like a new person. I didn't really even understand who I was after taking it. That's the truth. I was just going round and round to find myself. Everything was new. It's like becoming somebody new. That was how I actually felt when I took my Shahada. What was the most surprising thing you learned about Islam that you do not know before converting? Yeah, I think the most surprising thing I learned about Islam before converting was the realization, like, that Islam actually means peace. I didn't see that coming. There's this image that the world has created for us to believe about Islam, especially will I say, social media, movies. But the truth is not really being told for the world to see. So, looking at the war between Israel and Gaza, it was not in the age of social media where there's so much exposure of what is going on. It would have been painted that the whole Muslims are bad. But the privilege of social media could help us see the truth of how innocent children were killed. So they gave this idea before I became a Muslim that there's no peace with Islam, that Islam is violence, people. So that's the image and the impression that I had. But when I became a Muslim and I started studying about the life of our beloved Prophet Muhammad, peace be unto him, it made me realize that he was a beautiful soul. He was a peaceful man. He tried to strive for peace at all costs in his whole life. Even when he won so many wars that he could have taken over, killed people, force them. He did not force anybody to become a Muslim. He was a beautiful soul. He preached peace. He tried, like the records are there even till this age and time of who he was. So I think that was what really was really very surprising for me to, since I became a Muslim. How do my family and close friends react to conversion? Wow. It's expected. Their reaction was very expected, especially from my mother. She didn't take it well at all. She tried to convince me otherwise. And I remember a statement she made, and it really made me laugh in my heart. And she was like, even if you like Islam, even if you like the way of their life, their dressing, or whatever, even if it's the truth, in our words, even if it's true, the fact that you were not born a Muslim, you are not supposed to change your religion, because it has never been done. That was her word. It was hard. Early in the morning she would come and start talking in your ear, shouting. It was really hard. Adapting. You could see your family and friends. They are with you, but you could see the judgment all over their eyes, even those that do not talk. People look at you like you are insane, like something is wrong. In fact, like my younger sister made a statement. She said, look at what they've turned you to be. Like she felt it was my relationship with somebody. Maybe it broke me so much that I became this version of who I was. But it's okay. Probably I would have reacted the same way like them if I do not know the truth. So I wouldn't really blame anybody. But I encourage myself with what our Prophet Muhammad, peace be unto him, went through when he became a Muslim. I realize I've not even gone even a quarter% of what he went through. So he has parted the ways to make it easy for those of us that are coming behind him. He was also spoke, people thought he was insane. They even poured deaths on his body. At least me, nobody has even poured deaths on my body. He went through a lot. But the reaction was really tough. I felt alone. I could be with them, but I'm alone. And maybe you are in a family gathering and they are praying. And when they finish praying, they'll say in the name of Jesus. And you like, it's wrong, but you can't really do anything about it. So it's a lot. So I'm still trying to adapt and keep moving. And I pray for Allah's strength to increase my faith. And lastly, I think regarding family, Allah is merciful in His own way. I don't know, my father of all people became the person that was very accepting of my religion, and that alone gave me strength to keep going. What new Muslim friends or community have you made, and how important that has been? Support's been, yeah, I think they've been great support. In fact, when I went for Umar, I made new friends. In fact, I won't call them friends, I would call them family. I feel they're just gift from God to me. They are my family. It's been wonderful. That guidance, having someone to talk to, not feeling alone again. Before I just felt alone in my whole world. And I realized that there are so many people like me who are Muslims and who feel alone, who reverted to become a Muslim and they feel so alone, and nobody can really understand this feeling you are talking about. I'm sure some people like, just mix up, just me, what's your problem? But it's not that easy, and we are born different, everybody with their nature. But Allah, in His mercy, has given me a lot of people that are very supportive, that are there for me. So it's been great. It's been great. Yeah, I would say that. What is the hardest practical thing I learned in my first year? I think I would say it's praying in Arabic. That was really, really hard. And I realized I just wanted to learn it, no matter how hard it is, because I realized that that's the beauty of Islam. So that nobody comes to say this is what this means, this is what in my language, this is what means this is. So you have to learn to pray in Arabic, and it's beautiful. And it was quite challenging though to be able to say all those prayers. So, like what I normally do, I have a video of the person praying. So I just put and I follow the person in prayer. I watch the video as the person is praying from my phone. But now I'm so happy that I can say everything together with if I'm watching, or I can say the prayer. It was quite challenging. I think that was the most difficult part of practicing it. Yeah. What's my favorite aspect of worship or devotion? Yeah, I would say all of it. Will I give any specific thing? I would say all of it. I'll say prayer, charity, fasting, all of it is beautiful. Dakar is beautiful. Allah is the greatest. That's my favorite part. Allah Akbar. Allah is the greatest. I love that. And funny enough, even before I became a Muslim, I like that word. God is the greatest. That was one of my favorite words. So when I became a Muslim, emphasizing it, Allah is the greatest. It was so beautiful. And all along, I did not even know when I hear Allah Akbar, that's what it means. So now it's beautiful. So I would say fasting too, is one of my favorite parts, because I remember when it was time for Ramadan and I was like, hey, 30 days, I will not eat for that. I was wondering, how am I going to do it? Am I going to die? How will I survive? But I realized during the fasting, it's not about the physical strength. It's more of when you lean into the spiritual strength, it becomes easy. And I completed my fasting and I was so happy. But I was so sad when it was the final prayer of Ramadan. When they called that last prayer, I was like, oh my goodness, it's over. And that's the beauty. And I also learned, about the charity in Islam, giving zakat and all. It's beautiful. It's not like you're giving your money to a pastor or to a church. You are giving somebody who is in need, and it's between you and Allah. It's beautiful. So I would say that. What piece of advice will I give to a brand new convert or someone thinking about converting? I would tell you to be bold. Like, I would tell you to be bold. This world is just temporary. No matter how long it looks in our eyes, it's very short. I will tell you to forget about everybody and focus on your life after here. If you know the truth, you know is the truth, then you should stick to it and be bold. And damn any consequence, whatever you have to lose, and focus on your life after here. Because at that point in time, everybody here will be on their own. The people that are making you to panic and be scared of coming out to be bold to declare your faith, they will face their own judgment. You will face your own judgment. And you might just be surprised that God will even be more merciful to them than you, because most of them are not even privileged to know the truth. But you, God has given you the opportunity to know the truth. So you have to be bold. There's no excuse for you now if you don't accept it, then you end up in hell. Because if somebody is not aware, for example, when I was a Christian, I wasn't aware of, oh, Jesus is not God and all. I was taught as a child that Jesus is God. But God has opened my heart, and as an adult, I know the truth. Then I will now say no. Then that one, your punishment will be greater. It will be greater than somebody that is not even aware. So I will tell a convert, I know it's not easy, I know it's scary, it's really, really scary. But even our beloved Prophet Muhammad, before he became a Muslim openly, even his wife was the person he ran to when he got his first revelation. He panicked, he was scared, he panicked. So if he can panic and be afraid, who are you? So it's okay to be scared. It's okay to be worried that the whole world will condemn you. But what is this dunya? It's just flesh. But Akara, your life after here is eternal. And so that's what you should focus on, and be bold and even guide as much people as you can. What is one thing I'm most grateful for on this my 1 year milestone? I think I would say my program, Peace of Imaan, that I started. I think it's such a beautiful privilege that I get the privilege to share stories in the Quran, stories about God and His beauty. I think I will call that one of my greatest achievements this year. Not just, I think I'll call that one of my greatest achievements my whole life. This my Peace of a Man program, getting to do something for God openly. We do things for God, but pushing yourself out there, to say something about God frequently to the world, it's something that I am truly grateful for. If I could pick any verse in the Quran that speaks to me on my journey. Okay, if I will pick, I'm going to pick two stories that is very inspiring to me. One is the story of Mariam, and that's including Isa. In the story of Mariam, a lot of people focus on Mariam and Isa the prophet. But I have come to realize that Allah's ways are not really our ways. And I went back and I could see that the story of Mariam did not even start with her. It started with her parents' devotion. Mariam's father and her mother were devoted to Allah. And they were looking for a child for a long time before Allah blessed them with Mariam. In fact, if there was a time the father even had to go and pray seriously alone before the angel appeared to him that he will have a daughter. And after they gave birth to Mariam, Allah had to ask them to take her back to the temple. Imagine looking for a child for years and you had that child. You had to now give back that child to the worship of Allah. And you see, we talk about Mariam, we talk about Prophet Isa, but it did not really start from there. It started from the parents. So before the birth of Mariam, Allah already knew that she, Mariam, would be great. Her son would be great. Imagine how many generations and years of gap. But Allah already had a plan before she was even conceived.